This is the Saskatchewan Real Estate Podcast. My name is Ron Caroni, your Saskatchewan mortgage professional, and with a huge billion-dollar announcement at the BHP Jansen Mine site, Humboldt realtor Dan Torwalt comes on to discuss how that is going to affect the real estate market in that area. Hope you enjoy.
You're listening to the Saskatchewan Real Estate Podcast, where we chat with real estate experts from across the province to learn what's happening in the real estate market. Here's your host, Ron Caroni.
Mr. Dan Torwalt, thanks for joining us today.
Hey Ron, thanks for asking me. It's a great day to be talking. It was we talked a little bit off camera, about what we did each for this summer, and it sounds like we both had fun visiting family and friends and everything else. And I know you're wanting to talk about real estate and BHP because it's big news in this area for sure.
Huge news. And we were also chatting a little bit off camera about your experience in the area. And Dan, it sounds like you've got a great understanding of kind of what's going on. Just take us through a little bit about the backstory of this BHP Jansen mine.
Yeah, do you want the short version or the long version?
We'll aim for the medium version. Dan.
I'll go for the medium. Okay. Yeah, like we talked, I'm from Leroy originally. That's my hometown. Born and raised there, farmed in that area. And Jansen Mine the potash mine is located halfway between Jansen and Leroy. And actually my farmland is only about 2 miles outside of the mine site. So, I remember way back when, we started real estate in 2004. And I remember it was about 2006 or 7. BHP wasn't even the first ones out. It was a different company was sort of like sniffing around, doing some testing and stuff like that. And the locals didn't really know what was going on. There was even some talk about that it was oil. People were looking for oil on our lands and all that stuff. And ended up in about that 2006 or 7, I think BHP bought that company out and they started doing, their testing, right? And that was sort of big back then because they still didn't say what they were looking for as a company doing stuff. And they went to all the farmers, and I was included, my farmland, and they did seismic testing on all the land. And what they did, they flew across helicopters and they dropped detonating charges or whatever, not dynamite, but to put vibration down in soil to see. And I guess they were testing for potash. And they actually compensated all the farmers. Like every farmer got about maybe a couple $3,000 a quarter in each quarter that they flew to use their land and stuff like that. And just another thing, and no one really knew what everybody was still the thing, is it oil, is it pot? No one really knew, and they were saying it wasn't oil, but everybody was thinking maybe it's oil we got and stuff like that. And this is just another example. I remember when they were doing the seismic testing, and my abandoned farmyard, is only a couple miles outside of Leroy. And it was a Sunday morning, it was in the winter, and the kids were with us. They were young adults or whatever or something. Maybe they were still in high school, I guess they would have been. And we drove out to Leroy just on a Sunday afternoon drive, what to do. And, snow covered, and I drive by into the yard. I just said, let's go check the farmyard out. And all of a sudden I see these tracks in the yard, right? And I'm going, why are there tracks in my yard, right? Driveway. So I'm driving, and it's just a single track. All of a sudden it goes behind, I got a shop and a bush, and it's a trail. And I go behind the shop, and it was just like, when I got around the corner of the bush, it was almost like, that movie, First Encounter or Third Encounters of the First Kind or whatever, that movie when they see all this big, setup. It was unbelievable what they had set up in the back of my acreage.
Wow.
There was helicopters, there was lights, there was half dozen mobile homes set up. It was like a little community going on, and they had these pads, and they were taking off and landing. And I didn't know nothing about it. And I drive up there, and all of a sudden these guys come walking in, these big, almost like army guys with guns come walking, because it's all security, right? And they come walking to me, and they come up to me, and I get out of the vehicle, and they say, what are you doing here? They ask what I'm doing. And I turned it right around on them, and I says, hey, I own this property. This is my land. I says, what are you guys doing on my land? And I didn't know nothing about it. And they all of a sudden completely reverted and what? And I went and I talked to the big poobah in the home or stuff like this. And he had talked to my tenant, who was the reeve of Jansen at the time. My land tenant was farming my land, and the tenant said, yeah, Danny will let you do it, no problem, and stuff like this. So it sort of was kind of goofy, but they ended up compensating me too. I think they gave me 10 grand to sit on my acreage there for a month or something like that. But yeah, so that was sort of the history of it, and then it snowballed from there. And then I was telling you before, there was actually at the same time about that 2, 7, and 8, there was actually another potash mine getting developed by the Burr area. And that was a Chinese company that was in there. And they had meetings in the town just like BHP did. They had chamber commerce meetings. People went to the hall and everything. And they had bought land just like BHP bought land around the Jansen area. They bought a 7-mile square around, bought all the farmers out. The same thing happened in Burr. A lot of farmers got bought out there. Same scenario. They had to do everything, but BHP ended up buying them out just to get more control of the potash area and resources and mineral rights to everything. So that's sort of the whole history about BHP. So it's been there coming for a long time, like I said, right back in 7. And actually, when they were in here in 7, the housing, we get back into real estate, the housing market crash of 2008 across North America, we didn't really feel it here in the Humboldt area at all. And the reason was because of BHP, because that's when they were just coming into the area and starting stuff. And, it just trickled because there were a lot of people working, a lot of stuff happening. People were moving in here because of BHP, the jobs and all the other stuff. So we didn't really have a downturn in real estate. We actually had a really strong Saskatchewan, and especially this area around here, really, really strong real estate market, just stayed strong. And it stayed like that until, 2012, when all of a sudden BHP went into they mothballed it or just said, hey, we're just pulling back, and because of commodity prices and that. So yeah, that's just sort of a little bit of history. Like I said, I'm very familiar with right from the get-go. It was just like everybody else, what's going on in the area, and it was very close to me. And I'm sort of glad at the time. Yeah, go ahead.
That's why this announcement was so big, Dan, right? Because it's been kind of, like, as you say, mothballed for quite a while now. And we haven't heard kind of what's happening at Jansen. When are things going to start rolling again?
Yeah.
So this recent announcement, can you quickly just take us through what this $7.5 billion announcement is and what that means?
Yeah, it's just huge for the area. Like there's still some people are still saying, I'll see it when I believe it. But this is the announcement. Like, this is the one we've been waiting for in this area, the province, everywhere, for BHP to make this announcement. This isn't just another one of them. Well, we might do it down the road. We think we got to get final approval. No, this is the approval. This is it. This is the real deal. It's like they said, there's going to be 3,600 people moving into this area, working at the mine. They got the camp there. And I've seen the camp. I haven't been in the camp, but you can drive out there and drive around it. They've got a movie theater out there. They've got a gym out there. They've got a kitchen. Like, it's almost like it's going to be a small town, right? And then there's, once the mine is built, then there's all the jobs that come with the mine, actual miners and stuff like this. But yeah, it's just going to be huge. Like, there's so much activity coming in here and people coming in here, and yeah, we haven't seen this, like I said, since 2012, 13, since they sort of like put it on hold or mothballed it. Yeah.
So going back to that time where they first announced that, can you take us through what the experience was of this huge influx of workers and the initial work there? If we were to kind of draw parallels, Dan, what was it like then, and what are we expecting it to be like now?
Yeah, like in 9, 10, 11, right up until they sort of slowed down a bit there. It was like probably at least once, twice a week, and this is just our office and ourselves. Someone was calling the office, someone was coming here because they had a job at BHP, or they were going to apply for a job at BHP. That's in the residential end. We had a lot of investors in the area buying properties up because they were renting to the workers because there wasn't enough housing, so they had to stay somewhere, right? They could stay there was a camp in Lanigan, I think, for 500 people. And I see the same thing happening here. A lot of the people, they come out into the camp and then they don't like the camp living, or they want to move their family here. So we get those type of calls. I've been at the camp for 3-4 months. I like the area. I'm going to be secure in my job. I want to come here and buy a house and move my family here. So I see that same thing happening again. Like that camp of 36, that camp can hold 3,500 people. But that, and that's what the people in this area have to realize. They don't have to live at the camp. It's not like they're forced. That camp is there in case there's no housing, right? And you have to have housing. But a lot of those people aren't going to want to live on the camp. Like, this isn't a camp that you're going way up Uranium City where there's nothing around, right? Like, we're in the middle of the province, Saskatoon, 2 hours away, or an hour and a half away, Regina, an hour and a half. People are going to want to come here. They're coming here, and they're going to want to live around the areas and go and work at the mine, not like live in the camp and take back to wherever they're coming from, Ontario, BC. So that's the thing to get around in people's heads, that, yeah, that's what we see happening. And the commercial end was the same way. We would get phone calls once a week on big corporate company guys, because BHP is such a safety-oriented place. You can't go on site and service equipment. If something breaks down, you got to take it off. You have to store stuff off-site, right? So we had a lot of companies that were going to get these big contracts. They were looking for commercial land, commercial buildings, fencing, compound, some acres that they could buy so that they could put their crew or their company in there. And when 2012, we used to get phone calls once a week. When this mine gets going another year or two, I want to set up, what do you got for commercial property? Hey, it's going now. So that's going to happen too. We're going to get people coming in looking for commercial properties, land. It's just it's just a snowball thing. It's just going to, yeah, I see it just taking off. We had a pause for 8 years, 9 years, which seems like it took forever, but it just seems like yesterday, right? Yeah.
A lot of this just screams opportunity, doesn't it, Dan? When you have this much money, this many people coming into an area that is also open to industry and development, it's just a perfect combination of things that are happening.
Yeah, and that's, I mean, like you're going to see that if people have to realize what's out there, like some people say, well, when I see the trucks, I'll believe it. No, this is the opportunity here. Like I've been talking to a few people around, and I can give an example when we get further in discussion what's been happening with me in the real estate just in the last week, 10 days. But if any advice to anybody right now, like get ready for it. If you're a home builder or anything connected with real estate, secure some land, man. Buy some lots, get some spec houses ready to go, because not only are they coming in, Ron, we're dealing with COVID for the last 18 months, right? And everybody that follows real estate and listens to any type of thing, inventories at all-time low, like across Saskatchewan, across here, like in Humboldt, for example, we usually have like 120, 30 houses for sale. We've got like 60. There's just nothing for sale anymore. So people are coming in here and they're going to be looking for stuff to live in and to buy. And, if you got your house for sale, or if you got a spec house built or something like that, opportunity is going to be unbelievable to help you with your industry and your business for sure.
So for a lot of folks out there also could be coming up a time where a great time, if you have a second property, it might be right for renting, for selling. The market's going to be hot.
Yeah, and it is. And that's what we're getting. Like, it was just the last week here. I think me and Cheryl, we wrote up 8 offers just in this last week, and probably 6 of the 8 are connected with the mine. It's not like mine workers coming here, but it's somebody in that Jansen, Leroy, Lanning, and Drake area. People are sitting there. They're wanting to buy before prices go up. They're looking to buy some investment properties to rent out to people. It's just all those type of things, and that's what's coming up. So it's just, it's just been great. And and we see like anything in that area almost is getting offers on their houses, right? And an example is, there's a building that I have in Leroy there. It was the hall for the Kingdom Hall, and it's a zoned residential, but it's an old church, like from the Jehovah's Witnesses, and we have it listed there. And I think I had like maybe 1 or 2 showings in 4 months on it. And I think I'm driving there every day in the last week, and I'm showing the property to somebody. So that just gives you an example of what's happening, right? And it's just, I put more miles on in the last fripping 6 days than I have in the last 3 months. Like I'm just.
You're going to need a sub office that's a little closer to your old hometown.
I kind of think maybe a bed and breakfast or something over there too. I could stay or something, but hey, it's fun. That's what it's all about. It is exciting. I always said, geez, I wish, or I hope that this mine gets announced while I'm still in real estate. And, they're talking it's going to take 6 years to build this mine. So I'm producing in 2027, which is 6 years from now. So yeah, it's going to be a ride. It's going to be, you aren't going to see probably the biggest impact of people coming in is probably still a year or 2 away, like where people actually are coming in because they have a job, right? So that's going to be the biggest thing. And it's just not like small jobs. Like it's going to be people coming from Toronto, executive type jobs, like all types of spin-offs. Like it's not just the labor in there, it's everything, right? So, and then of course, the spin-off, right? All of a sudden you get people moving into a community. All of a sudden you're going to need more teachers. All of a sudden you're going to need more doctors. All of a sudden you're going to need more secretaries, more car dealerships. Like it's just, that's what's going to happen, right? Like that's where you're going to find it's just going to keep going and going. And yeah, it's it's like Premier Mo said, it's one of the biggest announcements in Saskatchewan's history for a job creation, and it's right here in our backyard. Like we're right in the heart of it. Yeah.
So if someone's sitting out there, Dan, and looking at this from a real estate aspect, if they have a little bit of cash and a little bit of wanting, what is something someone could do to get involved with this, or how do they get involved on the real estate side of this?
Yeah, home builders, of course. I know, like in 27 and 8, when it wasn't even like a BHP, but when that housing boom came on, you got a lot of guys in there all of a sudden became home builders. They built their own spec houses, or they had a house and they built it because, the government law, if you live in your house for a year and then you sell it, and you don't have to pay income tax or capital gains on it, right? So you could see a lot of that stuff happening. Of course, investors, looking in and buying some places to rent out. I'm sure you'll see that happening. You're going to see, like I said, home builders themselves. I hope and I think they will. I think it's just a matter of them really understanding and believing that this is the announcement. Like some people, they say, well, is it the actual announcement? No, this is it. And I think it'll be a snowball effect. It'll just be a domino. As soon as a couple of guys start buying some lots in town, like if I was a home builder right now, I would be trying to put up 3 or 4 spec houses like right away. Like in the winter here, especially, if you got your building crew, buy some lots up, put up some houses through the winter, and they're ready for May. They'll be sold, and start digging a basement again in May, and you'll have them sold in July because the people are coming. There's no doubt about it. And like I said before, inventory is so low. It's not like we have stuff to sell. So
on a personal level, Dan, how like you at Century 21 in Humboldt are quite busy as it is. How do you as an office get more prepared for potentially an even busier, 5 to 10 year stretch here?
I guess, it's like anything. We've been in real estate, me and Cheryl, for 18 years now, as a couple, with our company. And, so we've got a lot of experience with it. And I think, to be able to, because we went through it in 27 and 8 also. And it's long days. There's no doubt about it. Like, right now we're putting in, I'm up at 8 o'clock in the morning at the office, and most nights I'm not getting home till 8 at night. I'm on the road, or you're in the office preparing, you're doing up write-ups, you're following up on things. Because, when you do it, it's not only like you're showing houses, you're listing houses, you're taking offers, you got home inspections, you got all those things that are going on. We've gone through this before, so me and Cheryl got a pretty good idea how to handle it. It's a lot better. Like back then in 2008, everything was faxing, and it was like 5 duplicates. Now everything's DocuSign, right, on your phones and everything, so it's a lot quicker. Cheryl is great with it herself. Like she does all that kind of stuff. And you've seen me just trying to get these headphone things going before. I think Cheryl had to come in here and set me up. So even though Cheryl's great at doing real estate and selling and listing, she's super great on the computer. And you got to be. Things are happening fast, and people are looking fast, and you can put offers in fast. And with DocuSign, e-sign, like you can be anywhere and put in an offer, and you don't have to print it off. So you have to be prepared that way. Have yourself all ready, and you got to be just organized, really organized, and stay on top of things. And yeah, it'll be a whirlwind for sure. But like I said, me and Cheryl have been through it before, and quite a few of our agents have too. Not all of them, but some, 3 or 4 of them went through it there just at the tail end of 10, 11, 12 in there. But in 7 and 8, yeah, this right now, without BHP, this is like 207, 208, what's going on in real estate. And all of a sudden we get BHP thrown on top of it. It's just like we're just saying, like we always said, when's it going to slow down in 207 and 8? Well, right now, I don't think it's going to slow down for 6, 7 years. So we're in it for a run, that's for sure.
And that's a good problem to have. Hey, Dan?
Well, yeah, because that's what we're in it for, right? It's just, we're here to help people find homes and everything else. It's not so much. And like I said, we don't deal, we could sit there and say, well, I'm just going to deal with new builds, or I'm just going to try to get a developer and sit back and do that. No, me and Cheryl always said we treat everybody the same. Doesn't matter if you're buying a $20,000, $30,000 house or a $300,000. We treat them with all the same respect. And I don't think me and Cheryl have ever said no to anybody listing a house or selling a house. We just haven't. If we have to drive, range wise, we would do. Like if it's like 4 hours out of our way, we won't go and list something because we just can't serve them properly, right? But yeah, anybody in an hour and a half, and that's our trading area that we work with real estate is an hour and a half around the BHP mine site. So and plus, I guess for me and Cheryl, we have a lot of connections with, Leroy, Jansen, Lanigan, Drake, Watson, Inglefeld. Cheryl's from Inglefeld, right around the hub. That's where we were born and raised our whole life. So we know a lot of people in there, and a lot of people know us. So yeah, it's going to be fun.
So last word on this really exciting announcement from BHP, Dan, this huge $7.5 billion installment. Are there any other topics that you wanted to touch on, what this will do to Humboldt and area?
It's just going to be exciting. It's just going to bring, like I said, all of a sudden you get the jobs. But then, there was always that big thing way back when, like Walmart was coming, right? Everybody knows it's supposed to be on the end of Canadian Tire back in there. They're supposed to have the plans and everything. And, they were just waiting for the BHP announcement. Then Walmart's going to come in. Now, are they going to come in? I don't know. But that's just one thing, right? It's just, and if that happens, just everything snowballs. It just goes from there. So yeah, it's just going to be exciting. I'm glad we're here for it. I sort of jokingly said to people when nothing was happening with BHP, I said, I sure hope, like I always knew it was going to get, announced, but just when, right? That was the thing. And And I was always saying, well, geez, I sure hope I'm still selling real estate when it gets announced. Hopefully I'm not old and retired when it gets announced. So yeah, me and Cheryl, I'm saying I'm 58, you give my way. I'm 58 years old right now. We'll go hard here for 7 years and I'll be 65, and then I'll look to see if I'm going to stay in it longer or have a career change or who knows what, or retire. But yeah, we're in it for the long haul, me and Cheryl. We're pumped about it. And our whole office, it's all our staff is, and it's just gonna, when people start, like people say they got it, and the thing is, it's funny with we found it in 20, if you go back to like when BHP was here, real estate agents are usually the first people to hear if someone's coming in a community for a job, right? Because the number one thing is what they do. They contact the real estate agent because they say, hey, I'm thinking about applying for getting a job at BHP. I need a house. So we're usually usually they're not talking to City Hall. They're not talking to other people. They phone the real estate because they want to secure their family a house, right? So the real estate agent is usually the number one person that they're getting hold of. They're not getting hold of home builders. They're getting hold of real, because they just want to know information on communities. So actually and that's what we found in 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Realtors are the first ones to know what's going on. And because it's just, that's what they do. They want to secure a job or a house for their family, maybe jobs for their spouse, and that type of stuff. So we're usually the first ones that know what's going on. So when people are sort of wondering is it going to happen, hey, just listen to your realtors, because they're usually got their thumb right on top of it for sure.
The canary in the potash mine. Hey, Dan?
That's right, for sure. Yes, that's right.
Dan, a different question than I asked you from the first time. If you could go back and give yourself a younger version of Dan Torwalt some advice, now this could be when you were farming or maybe just starting out in real estate, what advice would you give yourself?
Well, it comes to anything, don't be scared to take chances, believe in the experts. Because but it's like anything. If I had a crystal ball, I'd be a gazillionaire. Even in the last 7 years, should I secured some land, should I have secured some buildings or housing and stuff like that, just so you be available for it. But that's probably the biggest thing, is listen to the experts, believe in now. BHP is coming, and the media has stuff out. I'm sure the chamber and city's going to be having meetings with everything. Go to those meetings, especially if you're in anything in the business end, because way back when in 2010, 11, 12, Chamber of Commerce used to have meetings in town, and BHP was putting them on, and there'd be like 300 people in there, right? And then it just sort of kept slowly going. Hardly anybody would show up because BHP wasn't doing nothing. But if you get those opportunities, jump on it as a business person, as an individual. Just see what's happening, or pay attention to what's happening, because it's going to be huge for a while, and there's opportunities. And it might not be connected with BHP, but it might be like a spin-off of something. All of a sudden, like I have a fitness center in town here, all of a sudden people they're going to want to go work in the gym, right? So there's just so many little things, that can contribute to helping the economy and helping your business rise. But just, it's going to be, and we're not going to see the big influx of people is still like 2 years away, 2, 3, where you're going to see like all of a sudden the camp and there's 3,000 people working out there. It's just the volume of traffic that's going to be going on. And talk about traffic, they're going to vehicles, right? People need vehicles. So it's just like you can touch every aspect of an economy picture in the community here, and everything's going to be touched, especially with that amount of people in the area, for sure.
Wonderful. Dan, if people want to get in touch with you, they're looking for a little bit more information on housing at Humboldt, Lanigan, Leroy, Drake, what's the best way to get in touch with you and Cheryl?
Yeah. We have a great webpage. It's Torwalt Homes, just our name, Torwalt Homes, all one word.com. We have a lot of information about the area. There's a lot of links that you can search areas of which communities and what they have to offer. And then, our personal contact is on there too, our cell numbers. We got a lot of Facebook presence. You follow me and other people follow me. We do all little things on there and videos. And I always have a weekly Torwalt Tuesday talk, which I'll be doing again, and we always give, and I've talked the last couple of times on the BHP, and that's how you reached out to me, because you had listened to it, right? So yeah, it's just good. There's a lot of ways, social media is huge for us, and we like being on social media and present ourselves. So you just, Google our names or go to our website if you want to find out stuff about the communities, because it's all on there too.
Wonderful. Dan, thank you so much for your time. I know you're really busy, so I really appreciate you sitting down and elaborating on this again, this super exciting opportunity for Humboldt and area. And I'm really looking forward to see what happens in the next 5 to 10 years with the mine site and this huge influx of cash to the area.
Yeah, and thank you, Ron, for asking me. I always enjoy talking to you. Like people don't know, I was your very first guest on your very first podcast, and the reason we did that because we had a connection. You worked at Volt FM, which is right beside my office here, and I used to come over there, and we used to do our weekly little Dan Cantu videos, and that's how we got to know each other and hang out. So we go way back before you doing what you're doing and what I'm doing, keep on doing here. So yeah, thanks again. Anytime you want to talk, I'm willing up for it, and take care, man.
My absolute pleasure. And I'm sure that there'll be more announcements to come. So we really look forward to getting you back on again.
Sure thing. Thanks again, Ron.
Take care, Dan.
See you, man. You too. Bye.
Thanks again to Dan for joining us on the program this week. If you enjoyed this episode, hit the like and subscribe button. Until next week, my name is Ron Caroni, your Saskatchewan mortgage professional.
This has been the Saskatchewan Real Estate Podcast. If you liked this episode, find more information and episodes on our Facebook and YouTube pages. If you'd like to be a guest or have a conversation you'd like to learn more about, let us know by messaging the show on Facebook. Thanks for listening.